A warm welcome from my side to the Warsaw Structured Products Day 2023. My name is Philipp Arnold and I'm Head of Sales and Marketing at Raiffeisen Certificates. Today I have the honor to give you a brief presentation and show you why structured products have become such a popular investment solution, especially in the DACH region. Before we start, a few words about Raiffeisen Certificates and who we are. Raiffeisen Certificates is a leading certificates issuer in Austria and the CEE region. We offer the full range of structured products and we played a pioneer role in establishing the certificates market in Austria and also in Germany, where we were one of the first issuers that listed its certificates on the stock exchange EUWAX in Stuttgart. From then on, part of our mission was to develop the market for structured products in the whole CE region and make structured products available to the investors in the region of Central and Eastern Europe as well as Southeast Europe. We offer a broad market coverage with over 6,000 investment and leverage products on more than 400 different underlyings. Our main focus of the underlyings are stock indices, single stocks, and commodities. A third cornerstone in our product offering are sustainable products. We already offer 400 investment products with a so-called ESG label. ESG stands for ecological, social and governance criteria that are met with those products. And very important when it comes to structured products, digital communication has always been a very important part in the product offering. And one of our most important digital communication channels is our website. And this also shows our commitment to the Polish market as we relaunched our Polish website in June this year. And you can find it under certificati-raiffeisen.pl. You find on the Polish website a lot of digital tools that make it easier for you to find the right product. And in addition to that, you can also enlarge your knowledge and find a lot of information about how structured products and the different types of structured products work. On the right side here, you see that our efforts for the structured products markets in Europe have been recognized nationally and internationally. Just recently, last week, we were awarded for the 17th time in a row as the best certificates issuer on the Austrian market. But the recognition is also on an international level. As you can see, we were awarded as best performance and distributor in Austria and Slovakia at the Structured Products Europe Awards, as well as locally in Poland with the Warsaw Stock Exchange Award for the 7th times in a row as capital markets leader in certificates. Those awards are not a tool for self-marketing, but they should give you as investors information and guidance that Raiffeisen Certificates has been a renowned and very reliable brand name for decades on the market. When it comes to the issuer, we issue our certificates under the brand Raiffeisen Certificates, but the issuer is Raiffeisen Bank International. We as Raiffeisen Certificates are part of Raiffeisen Bank International. And looking at Raiffeisen Bank International as an issuer, we are talking about one of the leading financial service groups in Austria and the CE region, with presences in 25 markets, especially with local banks in the CE and SEE region. The RBI stock is listed at Vienna Stock Exchange and has a market capitalization of roughly 4.7 billion. 45,000 employees serving almost 18 million customers. When it comes to the ratings, we have a Moody's long-term rating of A1 and an S&P long-term rating of A-. And now let's jump into the world of structured products and the idea and the history behind structured products and why they bring so many major advantages to individual investors. Yeah, when we take a look into the history, we can see that in the 70s and 80s of the last century, more and more private investors entered the market. And back then, they could basically only buy actively managed funds, single stocks, or bonds. There was no possibility for private investors to hedge their portfolio against falling markets or to even benefit from sideways moving or falling markets with certain strategies. There was neither a simple method to match the performance of an index underlying one-to-one. All those possibilities were only available to professional investors and remained so until the late 1980s. It was the year 1989 when the first certificate entered the market. It was an index certificate on the German stock exchange index DAX. And it was as simple as you can imagine. It just tracked the performance of the DAX index one-to-one and made it very cheap and very easy to access the performance of the DAX for individual investors. So already back then, when ETFs did not exist in the markets, certificates were the first possibility to have a one-to-one investment into a broad equity market. But it was not only index certificates that came on the market. 1 year later, the first capital protection certificate entered the market, and 1995, the first discount certificate entered the market. You can say that certificates revolutionized the opportunities available to private investors, because from now on, private investors had almost the same possibilities and opportunities as professional investors. They were now able to easily invest one-to-one in a broad index, or to hedge their position with a warrant against falling markets, for example, or to profit from sideways moving markets with a discount certificate. And when we look into certificates, what are they exactly? Yeah, from a legal standpoint, certificates are financial instruments in the form of securities issued by a bank based on a base prospectus and respective terms and conditions, which specify, among others, the maturity of the product, the payout structure of the product, and the underlying. And this is very important because each and every certificate has an underlying, which is directly linked to the performance, or the certificate is directly linked to the performance of an equity index, single stock, or commodity underlying. And when we look into the different categories, there are two major categories of certificates. One are the investment products. They are geared to medium to long-term investment horizons for conservative to not so risky investors, so investors that are looking to take often less than the market risk. And on the other end of the spectrum, we have the leverage products, which are associated with higher level of risk and a relatively short-term investment horizon. And here we have now a few details about the certain types of structured products / certificates. As I already said, the two big types, investment products and leverage products. And when we look into the details of investment products, we can see there is a separation between investment products with capital protection and investment products without capital protection. And I think the name is already pretty self-explanatory, but investment products with capital protection are the market entry product for conservative investors because they offer a capital protection of 100% or even more than 100% at the end of the term. And in addition to that, you can benefit from the performance of the stock markets. And this is a very interesting combination for conservative investors to enter the market, to have stock market exposure, while at the same time enjoying the safety of capital protection. And if we move further to the right, the investments become a little riskier. We are now talking about investment products without capital protection. And here I would explicitly like to mention express certificates, discount certificates, bonus certificates that are very popular in Europe because they offer not capital protection, but at least a safety mechanism that makes those products less riskier than a direct investment into the stock market. That's why they enjoy a very high popularity among investors, because they can offer yields that are close to stock markets, but with less risk associated. Then we have the index certificate, which is basically the one-to-one investment I mentioned before, enabling you to invest one-to-one in an equity index or in a commodity, which is also now very popular because those certificates give private individuals the possibility to access the commodity markets with a certificate that tracks the performance of the commodity one-to-one. And then if we move further to the right here on the graph, we can see the leverage products. And the name already indicates it. Those products leverage the performance of the underlying in the positive, but also in the negative direction. This means that those products are suited for speculative investors with market know-how and experience in financial markets. Because of course you have a higher possibility for high returns, but you also have a higher risk if the underlying stock or the underlying index moves into the opposite directions. Those products are very frequently traded on the stock exchange. We as Raiffeisen Certificates have listed 1,800 leverage products on the Warsaw Stock Exchange, giving the possibility to invest with leverage in the performance of their respective underlying. We differentiate between leverage products without knockout and those with knockout. The ones without knockouts are warrants or factor certificates, and the ones with knockout are turbo certificates, where the term of the product ends immediately after the underlying hits a certain threshold, the so-called barrier. So here we have the whole landscape of structured products. And when asked why certificates are so popular, there are a few reasons which I would like to mention explicitly. Very important is certificates are securities for all investors. As you saw on the slide before, there is a certain type of certificate that fits to the individual risk profile of each investor. Are you very safety oriented? A capital protection certificate might be the right for you. Are you rather yield oriented? A bonus certificate or express certificate might be right for you. And are you a speculative investor, or do you want to hedge your portfolio against falling markets? A leverage product might be suited for you. This means we have a solution for each and every one. And also in terms of market expectations, certificates offer a solution for every market expectation. If you want to benefit from rising markets, you could probably take an index certificate. If you expect sideways moving markets, a bonus or discount certificate might be the right choice for you. Certificates have a very important feature, and this feature is that you know right from the start what your payout amount will be under which circumstances. So you know if the underlying stocks moves into that direction, the payout of the certificate will be this amount. And this gives a lot of transparency to individual investors. Another very important point that gives additional transparency is the stock exchange listing. And we as Raiffeisen Certificates have listed in total 2,000 certificates on the Warsaw Stock Exchange. And this gives you the opportunity to easily invest, buy or sell the certificate whenever you want. And also small amounts of money can be invested as the price of the certificate is rather low and you are very flexible in buying and selling certificates on a daily basis through the stock exchange. When we look at the success story on the European markets, I'm often asked, how big is the market volume? Are structured products a big asset class on the market? And if you look at the numbers, we are now standing at the current outstanding volume, meaning the volume that investors, mostly private investors, invested into certificates is on a European level, and European level means the countries Austria, Belgium, Italy, Germany, Switzerland, and Luxembourg. 355 billions in euros. This is more than 1,600 billions in Polish zloty. So a substantially big market that attracted a lot of individual investors. And the interesting thing is, when you remember the slide where I showed you the differentiation between investment products and leverage products, 95% of those 355 billions are invested in investment products. So investment products make up the biggest chunk of the outstanding volume. Only 5% are invested into leverage products. But this picture turns when we look at the stock exchange turnover, because here leverage products are the number one product. Last year, in those 6 countries, 132 billions were traded in structured products on the stock exchanges. And 70% of this volume was traded in leverage products. So one might ask now, why is the volume in investment products that much higher? And when it comes to exchange turnover, the volume traded on the stock exchange in leverage products is higher? Well, the answer is pretty simple. Investment products are often held to maturity and geared towards medium to long-term investors. This means they are not traded that frequently, whereas leverage products often have a short-term investment horizon and are traded very frequently via the stock exchange. And this is also the reason why leverage products make up the biggest part of the exchange turnover volume. And if you look on the availability of structured products on the market, there is a huge number of products on the market. Alone in the first quarter of this year, over 2 million products were newly issued. But don't be afraid, you don't have to know 2 million products. No one can do that. What you can do and what we can offer to you is on our website, where you still can find 2,000 certificates that we offer in Poland via Warsaw Stock Exchange. We implemented digital tools that make it easier for you to find the right products. Within a few clicks on the filter criteria, you can easily find the product that fits to your needs. And that's what it's all about, giving you the right products and the possibility to easily access those products. So in a summary, when we look at the structured products market in Europe, we can say that this is a very established product category. And very important message is that certificates offer an investment solution for all market phases and for all investors. My colleague Anna Kujawska, who is also our country manager for Poland, will then later go into the details about the functionalities of structured products and how you can find the right product on our website. Thank you very much for listening and have a good day. Bye-bye.